The 763rd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Just go to edgeboost.bet and use promo code SGPN. And finally, we're brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 763 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to our friend on the YouTube, Prophetized Dubs, who simply says Daddy Gumby, which is true. Gumby is our daddy when it comes to
but I'll take
reach out. Even though he said it in the UFC event, which he shouldn't have, because I am the daddy of those picks. Well, Gumby's still beating me.
You're still behind. I think you're still behind.
I'm still behind this year. Gumby is the daddy of regional picks, and today is another regional episode coming up. Don't listen to the haters on YouTube that are gaslighting, saying Gumby got all his picks wrong, because they are incorrect. They're not paying attention. So
also, I'm gonna go to bat
here we go again.
On the recent UFC card too, because I also hit my lock, which if I recall correctly, you did not.
No, I didn't. The bomb theme did not come through. Your bomb theme did.
Yeah, that's just because you weirdly quit in like the oddest fashion. And also, I picked a slightly larger prop that also hit than yours.
You did very well with it.
Neither of us hit our dog. So, but I had a pretty good job on my recommended plays.
You don't need to defend yourself. All I do is talk about how great you are every episode. Enough. All right. Just sit back and let me do it.
Constant. I need reassurance.
That's why we do this show. Gumby needs. Exactly.
We did it for years without anybody even watching it. We used to tape it so that I would get reassurance.
Yep. Yeah. He's Gumby Reeland. I am still snowed in, Jeff Fox, and we have brought a Fury FC event for you today. What's the one thing I'm always consistently complimenting Fury on, Gumby?
Usually that they do weird days.
Sunday afternoon, exactly.
But this one's on Friday.
Doing Sundays. Yeah, 2 weeks, 2 events in a row. They're doing Fridays, which they're taking away one of my selling points for them. But
can I tell you the weirdest part about that switch to me? Because I agree. Weird switch. We've already got LFA on that day. What do you
now
do?
The football's over. Like, this is perfect.
That was what I was going to say. Man, it's insane. We went toe to toe with football for how many days?
Texas as well.
In Texas, and then suddenly football's off, and you're like, well,
let's do Fridays.
People want their Sundays. Yeah.
No, that was the thing. Sunday, late afternoon was, I thought, perfect time for them. It looks like the one in March is a Sunday afternoon. So
okay, we're getting back to it. So there must have been something going on this week. Yeah, somebody's wedding or something got on.
Maybe there was issues at the Boeing Center at Techport. Maybe it was booked on a Sunday. But that's where this one's taking place in San Antonio, Texas. Fury is always, if it's your first episode, you have to check out Fury. Very good feeder promotion. I say feeder in a positive sense. They feed tons of fighters onto the Contender Series. That's the main thing they feed, it seems, is Contender Series. A few of those guys, obviously, and gals make it through to the UFC. So very strong fight league, running out of Texas. And they got 25 fights on the card. Not even going to joke. People can see by the runtime of this episode, we do not cover all 25 fights. So they really give you value for your money.
They're like CFFC in where like 13 of those are AMI fights, and it starts at 6 a.m. so that they can squeeze all those fights in. It's one of those fight cards where you like buy a ticket, which I've done this for regional fights before. You buy a ticket and it's like main card starts at 6:30. I'm like, score, 5 fights starting at 6:30. I'll get there a little early, a little bit after lunch, and maybe see some of the prelims. And then it's like, doors open at noon, and you're like, what the hell?
How many prelims are there?
6.5 hours of prelims. Sick. I'm not going to be there for any of that.
Anthony Smith's retirement fight, is it really set against Zhang Ming Yang? Is that a real headline? I thought.
Let me tell you something. As somebody who owns a Zhang Ming Yang future, that's a really good next step for him, right? Because that's like, hey, make me number 8 right now for a fight that like should be pretty easy. And like number 8 will get you a title shot at light heavyweight right now.
especially
you just saw it happen.
Especially if they're, I don't know if they have any China events in the. But anytime they go to that side of the world,
he would be shooting for like August or September, though, right? Like, because if he wins now, maybe we might be able to squeak in one other win there in like the May-June area. Then we're talking like October China event,
or even Australia. They would
or
do
Australia.
It there, so,
him versus Pajeda late in the year. I'm not saying he's going to beat Pajeda, but I'm saying at 1,000 to 1, it was worth the play.
Exactly. Totally. All right, before we get into all that, NASCAR is back. If you didn't hear, you probably heard. Like, isn't their biggest event the Daytona 500, which happened yesterday? But NASCAR is back. We have the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. You should check it out. They just did a big giveaway for Daytona. They're always giving away free picks and winning picks, for the most part. So check out the NASCAR Gambling Podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and they're of course are on YouTube as well. And they're really swell guys that run that show. So. Big fans of those guys. All right, we're getting into Fury FC 102, Yannis versus Rosas. Yes, one of the famous fighting Rosas brothers. We covered one of the Rosas brothers a few weeks ago. He won his fight, right? Yeah, and he actually that's right. He thanked me on something. Maybe it was Instagram.
He thanked you on Instagram?
Yeah, he made some kind of comment, and I said, "Well, you made us look smart." So he made Gumby look smart more than likely. So Raul Rosas, of course, it's the most famous one. He's the gentleman in the UFC. Is he a gentleman? He's pretty young. The kid in the UFC. And this is another brother fighting the main event this week in Fury FC. So we're going to break it all down for you. Friday, as we said, the 21st of February. You're going to have a lot of screens going this week. We're covering 5 regional events for this weekend. We're
going to see a big fluctuation in my regional results. This weekend.
Where are you at currently? You still
right around even, because we lost about 1.5 units last time. So I think we're up a unit right now, which isn't so bad for this stage of the year, especially because we started real slow.
Yeah, I hear you did bad at Aries, so that'll do it to you every time. I read it somewhere. All right, so that's Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So when are they actually going to get to the main event, Gumby, if there's 25 fights here?
I don't know if that's the actual. Again,
that's right.
You might see the main card. Doors open for the AMI stuff at 8
now. Now, UFC Fight Pass is the main card. Prelims are on YouTube, so you can get all of it for free, assuming you have a Fight Pass subscription. San Antonio, Boeing Center at Techport. 25 fights, as we said. Gumby has picked out the 5 that he's most interested in, and then he'll have 20 others to choose from for some bonus what we like to call the lightning round picks. One of our listeners gave us the name for that. He gave us the name and the concept and the name for it, didn't he? Whoever that was, and I forget who it was.
We never wrote it down, and we are forever in that. Sir. We keep saying, if you're out there, out yourself, and we'll start
out
giving
yourself.
You more credit.
I think it was on you. Was it on YouTube? Maybe?
It was on YouTube.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a YouTube account.
Out yourself, sir. All right, we're starting off with the middleweight fight. Main card fight. There's probably like 17 main card fights. What's his name? Irakli. Kuchukhidze. Is that right? Kuchukhidze. He's from Georgia, not the state.
If you say it like that, he sounds Italian.
Kuchukhidze. He's from Georgia, Italy. No, the country of Georgia. Baysangur, Susurkaev, and Susurkaev. He is from Russia. I think some of these fights Gumby just picks because of the names. I'm thinking he's like, because he skipped a bunch of fights before this one, and then he made me do this one.
So Fury, according to their website, listed 4 fights that they were like advertising, which are the next 4 we're gonna do, and then this was the only other one with like reputable records in like both of the fighters.
Yeah, well, there's 25 fights, so you're going to get some that are even Gumby doesn't know about. So, but I think secretly, maybe even subconsciously, you just want me to butcher some more names. So Susurkaev is 6-0 with 5 knockouts, never been finished in a fight. He's fight at 170. That is all I have on him. Actually, this must be his debut, I think, too, right? In Fury, because I didn't mark anything down there, so I think this is his debut as well. Kuchukhidze, 4-1, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. Never been finished. Both these guys owe us some rounds. He lost his last fight, which is back in December 2022. He's not won since April 2022. Was regional champ, an inch height over Susurkaev. I believe this would be his debut as well because I forgot to write anything down. So let her rip, Gumby. What could you possibly know about these guys?
So I've seen both of them fight.
There you go.
Kuchukhidze.
Not so easy, is it?
Kuchukhidze is going to come in here as a pretty big underdog.
Is he Italian?
Kuchukhidze. I keep saying it that way. But I don't know. For some reason, that's the only way I can say it without stumbling off of it. But Kuchukhidze is going to come in here as a big underdog. My guess is like plus 300. You'll get like plus 260 or minus 260 on Susurkaev. And I'm going to go with Susurkaev. Dude, the names are even tripping me up. Yeah. Susurkaev is going to be a big favorite. Like I said, negative 260. I'm going to take him in this one. The huge gap here is that like it's all about striking. Despite the fact that these are two countries notoriously known for how good their grappling is. Like, I expect this fight to take place almost exclusively on the feet. Susurkaev is a guy...
Like Petrosky and Vieira, those renowned strikers.
No. But this one's not even because I think they're like grappling is going to like nullify each other. Like, Susurkaev wants to strike. Honestly, when I was watching the film on him, he looks like, and I don't mean this derogatorily, I just mean like he's an upstart, but he looks like a dollar store version of Loyola Machida. Like, he's growing into wanting to be Loyola Machida, hands down. If he's not fighting from range, he's got no interest in fighting for a little bit. Sometimes he has some of those like weird trips when he gets into range, but like the big loaded up rear right hand that like you can sort of walk into if you're not careful. Like Ryan Bader walked into that Loyola Machida right hand way back when. He throws that front push kick right to the solar plexus. It hurts people. If somebody tries to crowd his range and he doesn't like it, his footwork just like sort of scampers away and make sure he doesn't have to deal with it again. And then like if you look at Kuchukhidze, it's all about you keep laughing. Kuchukhidze. If you watch Kuchukhidze,
finally revenge.
Yeah, Kuchukhidze, like it's literally all really predictable stuff on the feet. He's much slower. He's much, much more predictable in his strikes because he winds up on him and they're wide and slow. And we're talking about a guy who, like I said, it looks like he's emulated his game off of like past karate style champions. I would be shocked to find out, and I couldn't find it myself, but Susurkaev has to come from a karate background. It's the only thing I can explain about the way that he fights is it like looks very karate based. Maybe Taekwondo, but probably karate. And I just think Kuchukhidze is just going to be a sitting duck for a lot of those strikes. He doesn't wrestle well enough. He's much slower and he winds up on his shot. So if this is under negative 300, Susurkaev is definitely a parlay piece for me.
If Topology has to say it won't be 95% are on your side.
On Susurkaev?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I wouldn't have expected it to be that wide, but okay.
No. Yeah, there you go. All right, before we dive into more winning picks, let me tell you about Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost. There you see it on your screen on YouTube. They are the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, or casino. Totally embarrassing places to have your card denied. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. You know your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. Best part is no credit checks and it's completely free. So sign up today and use the promo code SGPN so you get better cashback rewards and instant tier 2 status. Obviously, we're using our Edge Boost rewards on Al Horford prop plays. So that's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN, edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. You go 5 threes one day and then the next game you say under a half a three and then you win. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet every sport, plus props for every game and the live dealer casino. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit, and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Check out all their MMA lines over there and Al Horford lines as well at mybookie.ag. And when you do, promo code is MMASGPN. That way we get credited for it and you get 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMASGPN. Gummy just exposed me reading the ads.
Yeah, I thought you were done.
People on YouTube.
I took it down.
All right. Good to see you're not paying attention. You're quick.
I was paying attention. I was paying too close of attention. I thought that was the end of the ad read.
It's true. He listens for every pause, every gap, and he jumps in. Exactly. You got any chance you get, you got to jump in and talk when I'm around. All right, we are going to way up the card. Plenty of fights to skip here, at least according to Topology. Zack Borrego versus Xavier. So U.S. versus Brazil at middleweight, 3 5-minute rounds. Do I know Zach Borrego? The name seems familiar. Or does he just have a familiar sound? I do know
he
him,
lost on Contender Series.
Okay, yeah, that's how I know him. Of course. Xavier, the Red Wolf. 2-2 with 2 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. So he owes his rounds, damn it. That's a lot of 2s as well. 1-0 in Fury. Won his last fight via submission. 2 years younger. There's another 2. Borrego, the Dragon. The Dragon versus the Red Wolf. I like when these nicknames link up. I like to think that secretly that's how a lot of these matchmakers make the fights, based off of nicknames. So the Dragon is 6-5 with 5 knockouts. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. That's what I'm trying to spit out. 6-4 in Fury. He's lost 2 straight and only won 2 of his last 6. Got TKO'd in his last fight. Won a Contender Series. Who did he lose to, Gumby?
Bo Nickel.
Correct. Many moons ago, he lost to Bo Nickel. He's missed weight. He missed weight for that fight, I believe. 2 inches of reach over Xavier. That's all I got.
So this is a first in SGPN MMA history. This is the first time ever where I've gone into a show and I've got my notebook here where I write everything down, and I did not circle a winner in this because I couldn't stomach the idea of picking one of these 2 individuals. And I don't mean that completely derogatorily, but I do a little bit. Because Zach Borrego has thrown up some of the worst performances I've ever seen, including being badly out-wrestled by the Beverly Hills Ninja Jordan Wright. Badly, hang on, I'm going to say those words.
We've talked about him for a while.
Badly out-wrestled by Jordan Wright. And I just can't wrap my head around the fact that that's a sentence I say in any year, never mind this year, like any year, badly out-wrestled by Jordan Wright. That's where Zach Borrego's wrestling game is. And I was like, sick. He's fighting a 2-2 guy who took a long layoff and trains at the MMA lab. I was like, oh, this guy has got to have the wrestling to be able to just, anybody can control him if Jordan Wright can. And then I watched Bruce Xavier and I didn't think he could. Like his shots come from like 6 miles away and he like doesn't even reach people's legs when he shoots a takedown. His striking is worse than Borrego's. I was like, at the end of the day, I think I have to take Zach Borrego. And my worry here is that he's like negative 325.
Yeah.
And like 325 for a guy who got out wrestled by Jordan Wright is like one of the most painful picks I've ever made. I'm like, I couldn't even force my hand to circle Zach Borrego's name. I'm going to take Zach Borrego and I'm going to feel really dirty about it because like that performance against Jordan Wright bummed me out to no end. So Zach Borrego, and I'd rather not talk about it.
85% are in on Borrego.
Yeah, and that bums me out.
Yeah. You just feel this way because Macy Barber's been on the shelf for a while, and you haven't been forced to pick her to win. So you'll get used to this dirty feeling.
I think I did pick her to win the last fight.
I think you did, yeah. Yep. This sport will make you. This sport will make you feel not good about yourself more often than not. I find there's at least one thing per event that's going to make you feel squeamish, either inside or outside the cage. All right, third from the top is a welterweight fight. Richard Mayol. He's from, I believe, Puerto Rico.
Cuba.
Right? Cuba, excuse me. Cuba. Kuva. He's fighting Israilov. He is from Russia. At the end, gave it away. 3 5 rounds at 170. Israilov is Bertie. Obviously, his nickname is Bertie. Berti. I think I knew what that was, and now I don't think I do know what it is. I'm gonna have to check again what Bertie is. It's a place. It's a thing. Oh, it's a baseball player, John Bertie. That's who I'm thinking of, right?
Sure.
Played for the Yankees.
Sure.
Third baseman. No, I don't know what Bertie. I don't know what Bertie is.
Played for the Marlins for a hot minute too.
Did he? Fantastic. He's an American East kind of guy. Israilov is 4-1 with 2 knockouts. Actually, Florida Marlins are not. That's Tampa Bay Rays I'm thinking of. Bertie is 4-1 with 2 knockouts. He's been submitted once. TKO win in his last fight. That was back in October of 2023. He's been playing baseball since then. He's not lost since September 2021. He's fed at 185. 1-0 bare knuckle fighting. Here's Mayol's resume. Get ready for it. It's long. 5-0, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. He owes his rounds. Regional champ. Boom. That's all I got. I think both these guys are debuting as well. For some reason, I didn't mark that down. But yes, they're both debuting. So there's another line on the resume.
No, I think Mayol has fought once before. He fought Dallas Dodd on one of the previous Fury cards.
Which is a good name. And Dallas Dodd's on this card, I think. Is he not?
He is. He is very much so. He may or may not appear later when we talk about
He is 1-0 in Fury. You're 1-0 in Fury. You're correct. TKO win in his last fight, which was in
Fury. It was like 29 seconds. He knocked out Dallas Dodd. And like, this is a tough one for me because I thought Israilov, first of all, name ending LV, nice looking record. Obviously, maybe not as nice as Mayol. Like, I thought that he was going to come in as a favorite, and I'm also hearing that Mayol might be coming as a favorite here too. So this is another one, although that was yesterday's episode, I was talking about it, where when like my view and the public's view doesn't agree, we just talk about it as if it's a pick'em. Because I think Israilov has got the most obvious path to victory here, and I'm not just playing it based on his name, but the wrestling advantage for Israilov is so real. Like Mayol, he did come out and knock a dude out in 29 seconds, and a good dude. We're going to talk about Dallas Dodd later. He is a really good fighter, and he came out and knocked him out in 29 seconds. But if you go back a couple of fights, he has looked really spotty in his wrestling. Like he fought, I wrote down the name too, Franklin Torres in a fight like 2 fights ago. That dude is 2-2 in his pro career. And that dude wrestled the hell out of him in the beginning of the fight. Now, granted, Torres ran out of gas because he's not that great of a fighter, but Mayol had to work off of his back to start that fight. We got a 2-2 guy against a now 5-0 guy. And like, he was working hard at the beginning because he didn't have the wrestling defense to stop it. I don't think we've seen anything that says his wrestling defense has gotten better. I think he's got no chance of stuffing these takedowns from Israilov. And Israilov, he is really sloppy on the feet. So I think there's a chance that Mayol comes out here and, throws big from his side. He's definitely more technical. But I think as long as Israilov just like scares him with a couple of big strikes, gets his back to the cage, I think you're going to see takedowns. I think you're going to see it rinse and repeat. I think Ismail Israilov will dominate in that fashion. So give me Israilov here. Like I said, I originally thought he'd be, somewhere in the mid 100s in terms of a favorite. I'm hearing the exact opposite on the other side, so we'll call it a pick.
Only 11% for Israilov. So you may be getting a good line here, Gumby.
Yeah, this is one. And don't get me wrong, because I'm going to say this, like there is a chance we take Israilov here. He comes in as a big underdog, and I'm like, score. Like if he comes in at plus 400, you're not going to find a way to talk me out of putting a bet in there. But here's the other problem too. Like there's totally a chance Mayol comes out and knocks him out in 6 seconds.
Yeah,
and like maybe that'll look dumb then, but I don't think you can look down Israilov as an underdog here with the wrestling advantage he has.
Yeah, especially if it's underdog, underdogs are worth a stab. You can't get mad when they lose. And sometimes they win, like Andre Petrosky likes to do. Next fight is for the toughest MFer belt, Gumby.
Did they have this? I don't.
Did they have this before the UFC's fake belt?
I think this is brand new. Yeah. Well, that's like Titan cage Titans.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah,
the OG belt or whatever,
the
right?
OG belt, which is only for like old dudes.
Yeah, but we covered that a few weeks ago. Yes,
we hit a plus 400 underdog on that fight.
You sure did. I was going to say but no, that was all Gumby. The co-main event. So that's for the toughest MFer. 5-minute rounds. So they're taking this seriously. They're making them fight 25 minutes.
It's a real fight.
It's a real belt. Lorram Esteves from Brazil at Nate Richardson from the United States of America. And let's break him down. Richardson is the natural. 12-5, 6 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times. 4-2 in Fury, former champion of the promotion. Fury must be a good promotion. You see a lot of fighters that fight long, like a lot of fights in Fury. So they must take good care of their fighters. That's what I'm thinking. 3-1 over his last 4, including winning his last fight. He's fought at 155, 2012 pro MMA debut, 2-0 as a pro kickboxer. Esteves is 9-3 with 7 submissions. He's been knocked out once. He also has some finishes. 7-2 in Fury. Another guy, long-standing Fury. These guys deserve the baddest MFer belt. They've been around a long time. 4-1 over his last 5, including winning his last fight via submission. 2015 pro MMA debut. 4 years younger than Richardson, 3 inches taller. So can a submission artist be a bad MFer? They're saying they sure can.
Possible. Yeah, and I think he's going to be a favorite here. I'm going to say like negative 180, plus 150 on Richardson, and I'm going to take the dog.
Wow, another one.
I like Richardson here quite a bit, and the main reason being is that like if you watch Richardson in his fights, the biggest issue he has is he's kind of a plotter on the feet. He walks forward, and then after he throws, and he throws, with intent pretty often, he kind of just hangs around too long. He's there to be countered, and that's maybe been his biggest flaw, is that like when he throws, you can hit him back. But also in that same sense is like, that means he's like landing enough for me too. When you add that in with the level of competition this dude's fought and how well his like it's not even necessarily his takedown defense, but it's like his strength combined with some of the fundamentals he uses takedown defense and how much that's like allowed him to be in fight. Like, look, this dude has fought absolute beats. This guy is a win over Mo Miller. He has a split decision loss against Cameron Smotherman. And this dude beat Diego Lopez. He beat like the number 3 featherweight in the world right now, Diego Lopez. And he did it largely by like surviving Diego Lopez's grappling. Lopez got in on some takedowns, and yeah, he took his back a couple of times, but like Richardson survived, rolled to good positions himself, and like won the fight. So like, you know, questionable decision in my opinion, but like he was neck and neck with Diego Lopez because he's so strong in technical and avoiding submissions and takedowns. So like when you look at Esteves, like Esteves is very limited on the feet. You have to imagine with the way that Richardson plods forward is that like Esteves is going to be on his back foot. That's bad news for your wrestling ability. And in general, like I'm not really sold on Esteves' wrestling ability. I think like once it gets to the ground, his jiu-jitsu is very good. But like, look, Diego Lopez got to the back of Richardson and was there for like a minute or two and couldn't sub him. So like, why would I think that Esteves could? And then when it's on the feet, Richardson's going to be the one doing the damage 100%. And if he backs him up enough, he might be able to avoid the wrestling altogether, especially with that strength. So I would play Richardson into the favorite zone. Like if he was negative 130 instead of plus 130 or plus 150 or negative 150, anywhere in that range, I'm in on Nate Richardson. So give me Richardson here to win another one of those glorious made-up belts.
34% for Richardson. So probably right around where you guessed it.
Yeah, 150.
Yeah. All right. Before we move on to more guesstimates and winning picks, let me tell you about Underdog. Gumby just went in on one, hopefully, possibly 2 in a row, actually. But if Tapology users know what they're talking about, we're going to tell you about Underdog Fantasy now. NBA, NHL, college basketball, whatever your sport, you can cash in big with Underdog Fantasies. Pick them. And Gumby, right away, right off the bat, I kick to you to give us.
You know what I like to do here? It's been a while since we've had NBA games. So Thursday, the whole league is back in action. Wednesday, there's one game, but Thursday, the whole league's back in action. And the Celtics are playing the 76ers. Jeff, stop me if you know where I'm going with this.
Where are you going? I'm not going to stop you, though. Go ahead.
Al Horford, higher than on his 3-pointers made. Look, you know, they usually post him at 1.5. He's been higher than that 3 out of the last 5, and he's got a 3-pointer made in 5 straight games. So give me Al Horford's higher than on his 3-pointers made.
This is all about Al Horford, this podcast. All right, so there you go. You got your pick, and now I'm going to give you a code to use when you go to Underdog Fantasy and sign up, MMA SGPN, and that way you get to claim your special pick and first-time deposit. Offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. SGPN's partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. They got college basketball. They got NBA. They got golf. Rhythm has it all. Al Horford props, damn right. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RTHMM. The ad read got changed again on me, I think, Gummy, while I was reading it. Because they had football was taken out this time. I have to think on the fly here. All right. No editing this time, though, Gumby. We're good.
I checked it. We're good.
We are good. Gumby had to cut and paste Frankenstein, one of our episodes recently, but hey, we paid the big bucks here. All right. We are going to our main event. Is for, I want to say real belt, but the other belt's a real belt too. They're treating it as a real belt. This is for the FFC Bantamweight Championship. Now, why is this? It doesn't say vacant, but I don't think there's a champ currently. Neither of these gentlemen are, at the very least.
Mike, is that Mike? No. Hang on a second. Let me think about that. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Yeah, they don't have it listed
something.
Anywhere.
I almost said something, but then I had the very clearly wrong weight class.
All right, John Yannis, United States. Jessie Rosas, the famous Fighting Rosas brothers, United States as well. 5-minute rounds. Rosas is Tachido. 6-1, 1 knockout, 3 submissions. He's been submitted 1 time. Tachido looks like some kind of cartoon character. 1-0 Fury, including he won his last fight, which would have been his Fury fight. 8 years younger than Yannis, an inch taller. Yannis is Angel. 8-3 with 4 knockouts. He's been submitted once. 7-3 in Fury. He's won 2 straight and 6 of 7. Both of those past 2 wins have come via TKO. Used to fight up at 145. That's all I got.
Yeah, I almost guessed Michael Aswell's title. He was featherweight. Now that I looked, that's why I saw myself the first time.
Oh,
Tachido
that would be so embarrassing, eh?
Yeah, Tachido means little good time, if I'm not mistaken. Too.
That's fantastic. That's what our podcast is. We're a little good time.
Yeah, because like Tachado means like good time, and then Tachido would have mean little good time, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how to size this one up here because on one hand,
you have to.
On one hand, I think Yannis should be the favorite, because he's, like all of his resume looks better, his fights look better. I'm gonna pick him in this fight, and I just don't know how much like the Rosas name plays into the line, like because it means something, right? Like people hear Rosas now and know the Rosas brothers, and I assume even the books know, but I don't know how much that is because like. If I was guessing this and there was no like, hey, my brother's a famous UFC fighter and my little brother or my other brother is also good at fighting, and like, if all of that was taken out, my guess would be like Yannis like minus 140. And then like with all of that put in, does that get him all the way up to being an underdog? Does that get him all the way to a pick'em? Does it just drop it like 10 or 20? I don't know. I'll say like negative 120 on Yannis, even money on Rosas. And as I mentioned, I'm going to take Yannis. The big piece for me is while he struggled with the wrestling in the past of some of the fighters he's fought, he does get back up all the time. And, for me with Jessie Rosas, his wrestling's a little less good than his brother's, and he also has this bad habit of like walking back to the cage and getting his back stuck against the cage for too long. And he doesn't quite have the footwork to work himself out of it. And if you watch Yannis, man, does Yannis make people pay for that. Like he winds up, throws big hammers when people get back against the cage, and he hurts him. And for me, I just can't imagine Rosas avoiding that for the whole fight. Like for me, Rosas has to finish him in the first round and a half, or else like as he gets more tired and like ceases hitting these takedowns, because like it's going to be harder and harder to hit the takedowns as time goes. As he ceases to hit these takedowns, I think the power for Yannis is still going to be there. He's going to back him down. He's going to start hitting him. And like, as I said, Yannis maybe not the best at defending takedowns, but he gets up so fast that, that's just wear and tear on Jessie Rosas here. And like, then after he starts to tire a little bit, like, as I said, he's already got a tendency of backing himself up against the cage when he starts to slow. And if Yannis is going to tee off on those types of guys, I imagine Yannis is going to tee off here. So yeah, give me John Yannis. I'll say negative 120 favorite.
17% are in on Giannis, so you may.
So the Tapology guys like Rosas.
Yeah.
Whether or not the sports books like Rosas, the Tapology guys like Rosas.
Yep. All right, let's give you a recap, and then Gumby's got plenty of fights to choose from for bonus picks for you lightning round. He's got Yannis, he's got Richardson, he's got Israilov, he's got Borrego, he's got Susurkaev. All right, lightning round, is that Ben Boom Pow? Gumby, let her rip.
Yeah, for my lightning round picks, I'm going to take the aforementioned Dallas Dodd. He really impressed me when he beat Nick Lancaster way back when. Clearly, he's got some lightning in his hands. He stumbled against Richard Mayol, but I still kind of believe in him. He's tall, lanky, kind of fun to watch. So we'll take Dallas Dodd. The other one I'm going to take, Michael Blockus. He's probably going to post at negative 4,000. But man, like his wrestling's so much fun to watch. So I'll take Michael Blockus and Dallas Dodd as my lightning round picks.
All right, you're all set for Fury FC 102 on Friday. Check us out in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Check us out on YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast. Check us out on Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Check out my Substack. Enter my free UFC Pick'em contest this week, and check out all my writing at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has a very good podcast called Top Turtle MMA, where he interviews interesting people in MMA world. And this week, those interesting people would be who?
Mansour Abdulmalik, who is on UFC Seattle, and then the Octagon flyweight champion, Sam Creasy, defending his belt this weekend.
I'm looking forward to this episode. Very good episode, I'm sure. And of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. You can get a cool toque like the one I'm wearing, or we have really cool Degen hats now and a whole bunch of MMA Gambling Podcast stuff, swag. So check that out. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, and then sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get some bonus content. And Gumby's going to bid you farewell.
All right, I'm Dana Gumby Vreeland. He's the fourth Rosas brother, Jeff Fox, and we will see you tomorrow.